Are you about to list your home and you're thinking about whether or not you should be holding open houses once you go live? Well, we're going to break that down today, and I'm going to go over a couple of things that you may want to think about when you're trying to determine whether or not you should hold an open house once you go live and if it's going to bring you a buyer or not. So you have an active listing, you get with your listing agent, and you decide to schedule a time to hold an open house. That's when you, the seller, would vacate the property. The listing agent would be there to help answer and address any questions that may arise from any potential home buyers. There are some mixed feelings about whether or not an open house is beneficial or if it actually contributes to the sale of the home. There's a lot of looky-loos, people just beginning the process, people who haven't been pre-approved. So the person who may come through that open house may not be a qualified buyer for your home. So with that in mind, we're now going to kind of pivot back to what this video is truly about, which is, should you actually hold an open house? Should you get over some of your concerns about privacy, about unvetted buyers walking through the property? Is it worth it? Again, in my experience, I've never had any negative consequences come back to a seller or myself by having an open house. There are a couple things that are going to put you in the right foot to really position your home to get sold for the price that you're trying to attract. Now, it all starts with the quality of presentation, meaning, are you getting professional photos? Do you have professional video that is being done? Are you marketing this correctly? Is it hitting all the social media channels? Are you getting the video on YouTube? Are you working with a realtor that is going to do their best to market this property? Now, with that being said, assuming we have checked all of those boxes, once we are live, once the property is on the market, we only have a few tools at our disposal to keep this listing fresh and in the eyes of current buyers. The first thing is going to be, once you've listed and you've been on the market a little bit and the property is not moving in the direction you want it to go in, which is a pending status. In other words, you want to get the property under contract. If you are having issues with that, you're going to have, in my opinion, about two major tools that you're going to be able to work with. One is going to be price corrections, and the other one is conducting open houses. Now, the reason why these two tools are important is, if you're not priced correctly, obviously adjusting the price to get aligned with the market is going to be helpful. But beyond a price reduction, sometimes we will do a price reduction of $100 or $200. I've even seen price reductions of $1. If you've ever been curious, why did that real estate agent do that? Or why did a homeowner allow a real estate agent to price correct their home by $100 on something that may be $300, $400, $500,000, right? At the end of the day, a couple $100 isn't going to do anything. But what that small little incremental price correction will do, it will trigger emails across Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, Realtor.com, StreetlightRealtors.com, Remax, every brokerage website that is out there. They're all going to send notifications to buyers where your property aligns with their wants and needs. And it's going to say, hey, did you see this price correction? It's going to come in as a text message or an email, and it's just putting those eyeballs right back on your property. So you can use price corrections. And another way to do that without having to manipulate price or the pricing tool is to conduct an open house. By saying, hey, we're going to have an open house this weekend, it will send a similar email. But instead of a price correction, what they're going to notice is, hey, this property is going to be available for you to view this coming Sunday from 2 to 4. Come check it out, whether you're serious, working with an agent, pre-approved, not pre-approved, doesn't matter what the reason is, just come out and see it. Again, we're putting eyeballs back onto the property. So from a simple notification standpoint, I love open houses. Instead of having to mess with a price correction, especially if we do think the home is priced correctly, we just want to prevent the listing from being stale, we will set up and schedule an open house to then trigger out mass emails across all the various platforms that currently exist. Gives us an opportunity to promote it on social media. And again, we're just getting eyeballs on the property without having to manipulate price. It's a fantastic tool for that. Another reason why I like open houses is because some buyers prefer not to work with agents. They prefer to go shopping on their own, and an open house is a perfect opportunity for those types of buyers to walk a property. It is less stressful for them, or can be. It should not be a high pressure type of scenario for them. Not that a private showing would be, but that can be the perception. So an open house can be an ideal way for someone who wants to avoid that kind of pressure to be able to look at homes. So you may attract a special kind of buyer in that sense. In addition to that, you may not want your neighbors to walk through. You may not want family members of neighbors to walk through, you, whatever the case may be. But here's the thing. I think most people decide where they want to live based on 3 categories. They want to live next to family, friends, and close to work. By having an open house and putting open house signs throughout the neighborhood beyond just the front yard, we are advertising that there's a home for sale within the neighborhood. And you never know, you might have a coworker, a friend, a family member that is in the neighborhood for a buyer that's out there who does not know your property exists. So it gives us an opportunity to really hone in on that hyper local marketing of addressing, hey, there's a home for sale in this neighborhood. You may not be the correct buyer, but you might know someone who's trying to get into the neighborhood. So from that standpoint, it's great. That buyer may never even walk the open house. Maybe it's their mom or their best friend or a colleague that actually walked the property, goes back, talks to their friend or whoever, whatever the relationship is there, says, hey, you really need to go look at that. They bring it to the attention of their buyer's agent, or if they're unrepresented, they would call us or the listing agent, and we would be able to show them the property. And who knows, maybe you get a sale from there. You really never know where those strings are going to connect. Now, when people do show up to the open house, we do try to follow up. We want to make sure we get name, phone numbers, and emails, not just for security reasons, but for follow-up as well. We're reaching out, hey, what did you think about the property? It's a great way to get feedback, although we take it with a little bit of grain of salt because we don't know how serious some of those buyers actually are. But it is still nice to hear some feedback, especially if they have some comments on some of the aesthetics that we may or may not be able to improve upon. So all in all, the point we're really going to stress here is an open house doesn't take away. It's not a negative tool that you can use at your disposal, which is why I believe that using open houses as a tool for a listing is a great thing for both the listing agent and a seller. It's going to give you an opportunity that's not going to cost any money to promote your home even further, and you just never know where those strings are going to lie, what folks walk through, and what buyer ends up possibly making a move on the home. Now, if you're wondering, well, how often is someone going to walk through and go, hey, listing agent, I want to go ahead and write on this property. I'm so glad you had this open house. I never would have seen it any other way. And my answer to that is I'm not sure that it's ever happened, maybe once or twice, and I just can't remember at this time. But that's not the point. The point's not to sell the home now. The point is to get eyeballs back onto the property, both digitally through the various notifications that'll be sent out and to drive foot traffic to the property. So just a little bit of food for thought on whether or not you're trying to decide should you hold open houses or not. I think if you're working with an experienced real estate agent, there is nothing to be concerned with, and you just need to partner with them and make sure they're going to take the appropriate precautions to make sure your home stays safe and people aren't willy-nilly invading your privacy by walking through your home. So if you have any questions on that, or if you feel like I left something out about open houses, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. And I would love to try to address any additional concerns or questions you may have about open houses when it comes to your property and you're getting ready to list. This is Jonas Helbert. I am with the Miami Valley Experience. I'm also the broker owner of Streetlight Realty, and we work the entire Miami Valley trying to help you figure out your home needs. So if you have any questions beyond open houses, whether it's buyer, seller related, or investments, feel free to drop us a line, and we're going to be more than happy to get with you and answer those questions for you. Thanks.